What up, everybody? It's me, Cindy. I'm back, and I'm gonna be here telling you story number 7 today. So let's get started. So today's story is it's about my dad. It happened when I was living in the apartments down in Houston. I've talked about them several times. There are going to be lots of stories about this place. So unfortunately, it was a magnet for problems. So when I was younger, I remember this one particular day. My dad kept going in and out of the house. And we didn't have a phone, we didn't have cell phones back then, and we definitely didn't have a house phone. My parents could not afford that, I'm pretty sure. But so there was a payphone across the street over there. The apartments were kind of separated between the street, so one half was on the other side of the road, and we would always go over there and use the telephone. So my dad was over there just constantly that day. I have no idea who he was calling or what the conversation was because I didn't go with him. But I just know that he was basically on high alert. He was very anxious this day. And that's pretty much all I remember from the actual daytime. It was just him going in and out, going to have to use the phone, very nervous. And later that night, somebody came over, and they were in a white van, and they were outside having a conversation, and my mom was like, hey, let's go ahead and go inside. We're going to go eat dinner. And next thing we knew, we heard screaming, and my mom and me ran outside, and my dad had been ran over. And he was on the concrete just screaming about his leg, screaming. And I just remember him saying, the mother effers ran me over. And so I didn't understand any of this. I just knew my dad got hit by a car, basically. So my mom ran across the street. She called 911. And he was ultimately taken away in an ambulance. It wasn't until later on that I figured out that it wasn't just some random person. What he had been doing all day was going across the street, and he had been calling and contacting his drug dealer. And so the drug dealer came over, and I guess they had a sale that went bad. I honestly still to this day don't know. I just know that it was a drug dealer. My dad himself told me this later on in life. And he said that the drug dealer got real pissed at him. Something went wrong, and he got ran over. So I literally have a dad that got ran over by a drug dealer. I mean, that's probably not uncommon. There's a lot of people who do drugs in the world. I'm sure lots of people have ran them over because of drugs. I don't really know, to be honest. But who has their child around while they're making drug deals in the parking lot anyway? Why is it that it was more important? And that is one of the hardest things for me. Still to this day, I don't understand. I understand addiction, and I understand why you have the addiction. My parents were sick, and they needed drugs and alcohol to cope with whatever shit they've already been through in life, and so they were addicted. And I understand they have a disease, and they can't help it. But I wasn't a bad kid. I was a really good kid. I'm not kidding. I went to school. I did everything I was told. I mind my P's and Q's. I never got in trouble. I was a really wonderful kid. All I wanted was to be loved on, I was just such an affectionate, happy, loving person. I mean, other than when they were making me cry or feel like I was worthless. But it's you have this innocent child who is such a good kid, and how are they not enough? You know, like, why are they not enough? I mean, I struggle with things on the daily basis, and I would love for all that pain to go away. But I have 2 beautiful children. I would never sacrifice my children's love and safety over trying to do drugs to raise something that I can't handle. Like, that's part of being an adult. And instead, my dad just got ran over by a fucking van, you know? Like, it's insane. It really is insane. And through all of this that I have been through, you know, I have learned that obviously I was enough. And there's a lot of people out there who are in the same spot as I am. And that's one of our biggest problems, is we don't feel like we're enough. We feel worthless. And it's not our fault, you know? And that is one of the biggest things I've learned in my life, is I am worth it. My parents were just too blind to see it. And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't understand that. But with me, it kind of comes in waves. Like, I realize that I am worth something, and I'm a wonderful person. And I can say that because I have almost everyone in my life tell me that I am a wonderful person. And I try very hard to be a wonderful, good person. But there are still days that I feel worthless. I feel like I'm nothing. I don't feel special. I'm just me. I'm just an everyday, ordinary girl who takes care of her family, and, you know, I just live my life. But I think there's a lot of people out there who need to realize that just because they went through something similar, or went through things like this with their parents being alcoholics or drug addicts, is that they need to understand that they are worth it. Like, you are worth it. And I mean that. You know, people who have been through this stuff, we can learn so much from them. And I have learned so much from my parents. I've learned what I should do, what I shouldn't do. I learned what kind of parent I wanted to be when I grew up. I knew that I wanted to be the most amazing mom there was. You know, I knew that I wanted to live for my children. And I do it on a daily basis. And so I just want people who have to deal with this situation to understand that they're loved and they are wonderful. And there are people out here in the world that want to be a part of your life and want you to feel like you are someone and you belong here and you are loved, and there are people out there for you, you know? So that's my takeaway on this story. And I don't know, my dad, he honestly never really changed. I don't know why when he got hit by a white van with drug dealers in it, it didn't change his life. I'm not really sure why he chose to get up and just to continue doing it. You know, I'm pretty sure he just found a new drug dealer. And it's like, how many mistakes do you have to make before you decide enough is enough? Because he's in his 50s by now, and he's still making the same stupid mistakes, you know? And it's just sad that people don't learn. Some people are just stuck with it for life, and that's who they are, and they're not ever going to change. So you have to also decide if the person that you're fighting for is really worth fighting for. And I know that sounds really horrible, but it gets to a point where you go so above and beyond for this person, and you give them your all, and every time you give them your all, honestly, they're taking a piece of you away. They take a piece of you every single time, and slowly you just begin to feel like you are nothing. And that is the problem with addiction. That's one of the problems. And so I want people to realize they're not alone. I'm here. Once again, you can message me anytime. But yeah, that is my story for today. my dad got ran over by a drug dealer. All right, guys. Well, today was just a short story, so tune in next time and I'll be sharing something a little longer. See you guys.